a lot of people are asking me if it is safe to travel Sri Lanka right now due to all the unrest and the protests and everything like this. Well, the short answer to that is that it's absolutely safe. You'll only come across small little protests like this. Hello, sir. You'll just find people peacefully protesting. They just want change in the government. Hello, hello. But there's no danger to any of the tourists here. It's literally what you'll see. You'll just see people chanting. Just small groups of protests within the towns, cities and villages across Sri Lanka. Are they angry? Yes. Are they angry at the tourists? No. Are they dangerous? No. Are you going to get hurt as a tourist? No. These protests have nothing to do with tourism. They have nothing to do with you. It's just one of those things that is going on right now in Sri Lanka. But there is absolutely no danger in Sri Lanka for the tourists. I repeat that again. There is no danger for the tourists. It is just as safe as it always has been. Now, right now, Sri Lanka, they're really hurting because COVID stopped all the tourists from coming for 2 years. As soon as they open up, they now have all these issues with the economics, with the politics, and now all the tourists are too scared to come to Sri Lanka. I'm sorry for the noise. All the tourists are too scared to come to Sri Lanka right now. Hello. But you shouldn't be, because the Sri Lankans are super friendly. The Sri Lankans are not dangerous in any way. Look how friendly they are. Look, watch this. Hello. Hello. See, so friendly. And that's what you'll find everywhere. Watch this. There's no one here. Hello. Hi. See, super friendly, no issue whatsoever. If you're a tourist, the Sri Lankans treat you with the utmost respect because you're bringing foreign currency into this country. And right now, that is the main issue with their economics, is they don't have enough foreign currency. So, if you come to Sri Lanka, you will not be in danger. I will discuss some of the inconveniences in just a moment, if you just keep watching. This is the truth of it. If you come to Sri Lanka, you will be helping the Sri Lankans, the local people, immensely. They need money. They need foreign money. You are a foreigner with money. Come to Sri Lanka. You can come to Sri Lanka and you can feel good about spending your money. You can feel good about traveling the country because every single person is going to see you and they're going to think, yes, we're getting some money in this country. You're a guest in their country as well. And I tell you what, Sri Lankan hospitality is some of the best hospitality I've ever come across in any country I've ever traveled. This is another area of protest. You can see that it's very peaceful. They've just finished protesting. There's not even any police here. There's no violence. At the beginning, apparently there was a couple of violent people in a protest in Colombo and it gave the protesters a bad name. This is completely inaccurate. There's no danger whatsoever. Now, I will discuss the inconveniences of currently traveling in Sri Lanka. So you're probably asking yourself, well, are there any issues with traveling Sri Lanka right now? Hello. And really, there are a few inconveniences. So the main issue in Sri Lanka, hello. Oh, not today, thank you. Very nice, very nice. There's some good waving right there. That's some good waving. Look how happy everyone is to see me. The main issue in Sri Lanka right now for tourists, this is what's going to affect you the most, are the power cuts. So there is a lot of power cuts going on every day pretty much, but when they first started doing the power cuts, it could be literally like 8 hours a day. It was pretty nuts. Right now, it's sort of, you know, a couple of hours a day here, maybe an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening, something like this. I've not experienced any more than 3 hours of power cut each day for a long time now, and even then, it's probably not even that long. Now, in different areas of the country, they have power cuts at different times and for different lengths of time. Now, if you're somebody that isn't a budget backpacker, so for example, if you're happy to spend $10 or more on your accommodation each day, then that means you are not in the budget realm of the backpacker, if that makes any sense. It basically means you're not going to be affected by the power cuts, because any place that's charging $10 or more is more of a luxurious place, and they have their own generators. So as soon as the power cuts, they just turn their generators on and you've got power. It's absolutely no issue. Now for me, because I usually spend about $5 or a little bit more each day on accommodation, I'm in that real low budget backpacker sort of. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, not today, thank you, not today, but good luck. No thank you, no thank you.
You're from?
England.
Ah, very good.
Sri Lanka, very good too.
My friend here about.
Here's this brother's shop, Ranjith Textiles. There you go. Thank you, Ranjith. So you can see how friendly everyone are. But if you're a budget backpacker like myself, then you are going to get a little bit hot and sweaty, maybe an hour or two in the day when the fans and the electricity turns off. But honestly, it's really not that much of an issue. And I do YouTube, Molly teaches online. We really need electricity. It's not been any kind of an issue for us. We can work, we can edit, we can do anything on our laptops. It's just a couple of hours in the day, and usually they break it up. So it might be like 45 minutes to an hour one time, 45 minutes to an hour another time. And that is the biggest issue of traveling Sri Lanka right now, is the power cuts. And it's hardly even an issue. So many people have not come to Sri Lanka because of the, you know, the current issues, the political and economic issues. And really, it's such a shame because it's not even affecting the tourists. It's almost crazy. I've been talking to like agencies and stuff like this, and they're saying that they're just getting constant cancellations right now because people are cancelling their trip to Sri Lanka over a power cut. You know, that's essentially what it is. People are thinking that it's way more of an issue for tourists than it actually is. Please don't cancel your trip to Sri Lanka just because of the current issues. It will not affect you like that. The next thing is the diesel crisis. The way that this is going to affect you is if you hire a tuk-tuk or a motorbike to drive yourself, then you might have a long queue at the gas station. But even then, it's quite often they'll have a busy day, or they'll have a busy time of the day and a not busy time of the day, and you just go when it's not busy and you just fill up like normal. Now that's more of an issue for the locals and the tuk-tuk drivers, because you know, if they need their gas now, then they're gonna have to wait for a long time. They're gonna have to queue up. Maybe the gas station has run out of gas. But you, with your motorbike, just make sure you don't run out of gas before you next fill up. It's as simple as that. These little things will just negate any issues that you actually have in Sri Lanka. So that's it. The power cuts, that can be a little bit annoying for a couple of hours a day. And the diesel, if you've got your own motorbike, you might have to queue for a while. The next issue are strikes. So the other day, I couldn't get on a train because the whole country was on strike. Now, this doesn't happen very often. This was the first day that I went to use a train and I couldn't get on a train because they were striking. But these are all official strikes. It's all in the news. They tell you when it's going to be. It's really not that much of an inconvenience. So I was traveling from Hikkaduwa to Kandy, and I wanted to get the train. No train. So I just got a bus instead. It's that simple. I literally just got a bus. Hello. Let me just to summarize. It is not dangerous at all. The protests do not get in the way of any of the tourist activities at all. The Sri Lankan people are extremely happy for us tourists to be coming to this country. It's a lifeblood. In 2019, tourism accounted for over 12% of the GDP of Sri Lanka. Of course, that's way lower now. I don't know what it is. Hi, sir. Hi, sir. Sir, you like Sri Lankans? They like tourists?
Yes.
Yeah? Love tourists. Yeah? There you go. See? England. Sri Lanka, very nice. See? You can ask any Sri Lankan if they like tourists, if tourists should be here, if they want tourists here, they will constantly say, yes, please, please, bring them here. The main inconveniences that you will come across are power cuts, but if you're not in that basic budget travel bracket, then that's not going to be an issue to you. If you are, then it's 2 hours a day, something like this. Some days, no power cuts. It's as simple as that. And not only this, because of everything that is going on right now, things are a lot cheaper. Now for the Sri Lankans, things are a lot more expensive because their issue is that their rupee is going sky high or devaluing against the dollar and the pound and foreign currency. So if you're a foreigner and not a Sri Lankan and you come to Sri Lanka, you will be experiencing some of the best prices in Sri Lanka, maybe forever. Who knows? This could be it. This could be the cheapest that Sri Lanka is for the next 10 years. I hope it is anyway, because, you know, I want Sri Lanka to do well. I want them to make good money and to prosper. Sri Lankans deserve to prosper. They're hard workers. You know, in fact, it's not about that, but you know what I'm saying. They're good people. They work hard. The Sri Lankans deserve a good economy. They're good, intelligent people. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. So the pros to coming to Sri Lanka right now are it is cheaper than it's been for a very long time. People are extremely happy when they see you, extremely happy. People are so grateful that you use their accommodations, that you buy their food, that you use their tuk-tuks, you know? You're doing something really good just by traveling. Imagine that. You're just enjoying your life, traveling around, and if you come to Sri Lanka, you will be doing so much good for the Sri Lankans. Imagine that. They really need tourism, so come to Sri Lanka. There aren't any issues that really affect the tourists. There's one more thing that I forgot. The other day I couldn't have the fried rice that I really wanted to have because that restaurant didn't have any gas. So I ate a roti instead. You know, it's just so simple. It's so simple. There aren't any issues for tourists. And so many people are saying that they're scared to come. I've got so many comments saying that people are scared to come or they're cancelling their visit because of the issues. And there's absolutely no reason to do that. It's crazy. I feel like if you watch the news, then you're way more scared or apprehensive of the situation than you really should be. I don't watch the news, okay? I'm just here experiencing Sri Lanka. I'm on the ground and there is no issue for the tourists. They love us. They really appreciate us. I don't know how much more I can say. What is the worst part? I think the worst part of coming to Sri Lanka right now is seeing the people suffer, seeing good, hard-working, intelligent people suffering. That's probably the hardest bit about being in Sri Lanka, traveling Sri Lanka right now. It's got nothing to do with the power cuts, the lack of gas, and these kinds of things, you know? No, I can't think of anything. It really can't. It's just absolutely minimal inconvenience. If you choose for it to inconvenience you, then it's absolutely minimal inconvenience. Really, if you come to Sri Lanka right now, because there's so little tourists, you get a really authentic side of Sri Lanka. It's a really special time to visit Sri Lanka. And that's the ironic thing, is so many people are cancelling their trips or deciding not to come here. and it's actually one of the best times for foreigners to come here. There's just so little foreigners here that everyone treats you like family. All the Sri Lankans treat you like family. They appreciate you being here. They appreciate you spending your money. It's super cheap for the foreigners, and it actually hurts me to say that, because I know in doing so, in that fact, the fact that it's so cheap for foreigners is only because it's so expensive for the Sri Lankans right now. And that does make me feel bad, you know? But at the same time, it makes me feel good because I can come over and I can bring my money and I can spread it around Sri Lanka, and I can really help, you know, poor Sri Lankan families. So it's really up to you. If you don't want to come to Sri Lanka, then fine. But if it's because of the political and economic, problems, then there's really no need for it. You're jumping the ship when you really shouldn't. You should be here. I think that's pretty much it, to be honest with you. I just wanted to make a quick video, you know, because so many people keep asking me, and I keep speaking to people who are saying, you know, their bookings are getting cancelled because people have just decided not to come to Sri Lanka because of the problems. It really doesn't affect us in any way. The only thing that you can do when you come here is you can really help them out when you spend your money. And you're just having a good time. Imagine that. Imagine just having a good time. And what you're doing is saving people. It's insane to say that, but it's the same. It's the same as when I was traveling around Laos during COVID, and fair enough, nobody could get into Laos, but there were no tourists in Laos. So any tourists that were in Laos, anyone that was spending any money during COVID, they were saving people. And it's exactly the same here, you know? Come to Sri Lanka. It will be a very special experience for you, you know? Historically, this is gonna be a really unique time to come and visit Sri Lanka. Like I say, it's super cheap, and there's not many tourists around. There really aren't. Most of the tourists are on the East Coast right now, but there are hardly any tourists. People are crying out for it. I spoke to a tuk-tuk driver today, and you'll see him in one of my videos coming up. I spoke to a tuk-tuk driver today, and he cried because of the issues. Sometimes he spends 800 rupees a day on fuel trying to come into Kandy to find tourists. He doesn't find any, and he goes home with less money than he left with. That's the situation right now, because whoa. That dog nearly went for me. But that's the situation right now in Sri Lanka, is people are crying out for tourists, and the tourists aren't coming because of, I don't know, because of the issues. But there are no issues. There really aren't, you know? I'm just going to conclude, there are just slight inconveniences. Every now and then there's a power cut, and every now and then there's a power cut. On the days where they have strikes, there will be no trains, but you can get the buses instead. And that hardly ever happens. So far that's happened once to me, where I've gone to get a train and they're striking. Generally, tuk-tuks and food has gone up a little bit in terms of rupees, but because our foreign currency is so strong against the hyperinflation of rupees, it's still cheaper than when it was before. There's some more protesting. People are really happy though. They're happy. They've come together, and they've come together for change. There's no danger here whatsoever. Absolutely no danger. And I think I'll end the video there. I think I've said enough. If you're worried about coming to Sri Lanka because of the current issues, then you're worrying for no reason whatsoever. It's a beautiful country, amazing food. The people are so energetic and so overtly friendly. It's so easy to travel Sri Lanka. Everything about Sri Lanka is amazing. It's got to be one of my favorite places I've ever experienced in my whole life. If just one person decides to come to Sri Lanka, thanks to this video, then I'll consider this video a success. I really will. But I hope I convince 100 people or 1,000 people to come, because it's an amazing place. The people need it. You will miss out visiting Sri Lanka in such an interesting time. Anyway, I've said enough. If you're still here, I really appreciate it. If you have any other questions, comment below and I'll try and get to it. But for now, thank you for watching. Thank you for experiencing this beautiful country with me through the screen, and make someone smile today. Come to Sri Lanka, make 1 million people smile.